Beneath the fading lingering glow of the Victorian era, a prominent statesman turned away from the world of politics and power, adopting rigorous logical reasoning to elaborate on a myth that seemed absurd yet endlessly fascinating. It was Ignatius Donnelly who transformed Atlantis from an ancient legendary tale into something that felt like undeniable factual truth. Tonight, accompanied by the soft warmth of burning fire, we drift deep into slumber, wandering amid the ancient civilization he wove into existence with nothing but his pen. If the whole course of human history can be regarded as a grand elaborate illusion, then Ignatius Donnelly was the most sincere dreamer among all deceivers. He managed to convince the entire world, and in this uniquely absurd romantic manner ease the widespread spiritual anxiety brought by the relentless rise of the industrial age. He wandered among tales of great catastrophic floods, distant celestial stars, and forgotten prehistoric civilizations, searching tirelessly for the final eternal resting place of the human soul. Tonight, set aside rigid logical judgment and worldly doubt. Follow this master storyteller back to the serene peaceful days long before the great flood swept across the world. Ignatius Donnelly once held high political standing and influential power, yet he chose to seek another form of eternal life amid scattered ancient ruins and dusty old manuscripts. His monumental work, centered on Atlantis, was far more than a mere misinterpretation of scientific evidence. It stood as a profound romantic elegy for lost ancient glory. Within the story unfolding tonight, you will hear the quiet rhythm of time rolling forward and sense the tranquil lingering echo left behind when a magnificent ancient civilization sank into the endless ocean. Let Donnelly's stubborn, persistent obsession become the gentle whisper beside your pillow, guiding your mind toward the remote lost sea realm far beyond the horizon. Pause for a moment and imagine devoting your entire life to proving a truth the whole world deems non-existent. In the quiet late hours of 1882, drawing rooms and salons across London and New York buzzed with whispers of one haunting, mesmerizing name. It was not a newly discovered island or remote land, but an ideal ancient kingdom filled with golden splendor and shimmering crystals sunk beneath the ocean waves 10,000 years prior. Ignatius Donnelly once served as Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota in the United States, and at this moment he wove the old myth into an unbreakable, intricate web through almost obsessive, rigorous reasoning. Tonight, let the soft, gentle glow of flickering firelight stay with us as we walk fully into the untold story of his life. This tale is not merely about archaeology, conspiracy theories, or ancient lore. It tells how one lonely soul carved out a quiet spiritual sanctuary for all humanity amid the cold indifference of a rapidly changing era. He constructed a stairway leading back to primordial antiquity with detailed statistical data and uniquely imaginative logic. Now close your eyes, let your thoughts drift along the surging current of time, flowing slowly toward the deep blue boundless sea. The life of Ignatius Donnelly was originally destined to climb steadily toward the peak of political power. In his early 30s he claimed the office of Minnesota Lieutenant Governor, and his speeches on the congressional podium held such extraordinary talent that audiences fell utterly silent, hanging on every word. Yet beneath his refined intellectual outward demeanor, Donnelly always felt like a stranger out of place in his own time. 19th century America churned relentlessly under the massive wheels of the Industrial Revolution. Thick black smoke billowed from countless factory chimneys, and the whole world grew noisy, restless, and consumed by material greed. Amid breaks from busy official duties, Donnelly often sat alone in his dim study, piled high with ancient books, his expression quiet, melancholy, and solemn. He yearned for something purer, grander, and more profound, an ultimate eternal truth capable of explaining the very origin of human civilization. That inner slumbering longing awoke the moment he read Plato's brief, subtle accounts of the lost island hidden deep within the Atlantic Ocean. From that day forward he abandoned his stable, promising political career and began collecting and comparing ancient myths from every corner of the globe. With the single-minded dedication of a passionate visionary, he noticed striking similarities between the pyramids of Central America and those of ancient Egypt, and discovered nearly every ancient race around the world preserved shared memories of a devastating global flood. In his eyes, these parallels were no mere coincidence. They revealed a common ancestral civilization silently calling to modern humanity from beneath buried layers of earth. He resolved to become the one to uncover its secrets, not with farming tools and digging spades, but with nothing more than his gifted pen that held the power to shape worlds. In 1882 his monumental work Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, officially published, sweeping across the globe, leaving readers stunned by its curious blend of strict academic tone and fantastical imagination. Donnelly never adopted the vague mystical language of superstition. Instead he wrote in the formal, serious voice of a seasoned scholarly researcher. He cited detailed plant classification records, geological terrain trends, linguistic root derivations, and even the natural flow of Ocean currents across vast waters. He sought to prove that every spark of human civilization, including farming, metallurgy and written alphabet systems, all originated from the great sunken continent swallowed by the ancient flood. In those years endless deep contemplation aged his features prematurely, his beard always neatly groomed and his eyes burning with an awe-inspiring inner fire. He was not merely writing a single literary work, he was rebuilding a spiritual Garden of Eden for Victorian people who had lost their inner spiritual home amid industrial turmoil. Readers of his era were captivated beyond measure, envisioning walls forged from pure gleaming gold and graceful vessels capable of gliding freely through the open sky. Even though modern science reveals countless logical flaws and loopholes in his inferences, every reader who opened his book on quiet, lonely nights could almost taste the salty ancient breeze drifting up from the depths of the Atlantic Ocean. Donnelly became widely regarded as the founding father of Atlantis studies, yet he understood well the eternal misunderstanding hidden beneath such fame. Mainstream academic circles mocked him relentlessly, labeling him a cunning deceiver and pseudo-scholar, yet he simply sat quietly beside his hearth gazing into the dancing flames, fully convinced he had brushed close to the divine mysteries of the universe. Donnelly's stubborn obsession never stopped at merely exploring sunken ocean realms. His vision stretched far deeper into the core of human civilization and historical mystery. He turned his attention to Shakespeare's timeless plays, using his own set of logical methods to argue those great dramatic masterpieces were actually written by Francis Bacon. His train of thought expanded endlessly like twisting, spreading vines, striving to fill every hidden crack in recorded history with his own constructed logic. At his estate in Newington, Donnelly nearly cut himself off entirely from the trivial distractions of the real world, only his wife accompanying him through his lonely, unyielding fixation. On quiet late nights he would stand murmuring softly before a huge wall-mounted world map, tracing the center of the Atlantic Ocean with his fingertips, as if he could feel the steady heartbeat of a long-buried civilization beating beneath the waves. His life endured heavy financial losses, gradual political marginalization and even slow fading from public memory, yet his inner belief never wavered. This unique aesthetic of rigorous logic wrapped in romantic absurdity became his strongest armor, shielding him from the cold pressure and indifference of his era. He firmly believed the world operated under orderly natural laws, that all human civilizations must share one warm sacred origin rather than growing cold, ruthless and materialistic like industrial society. This relentless pursuit of perfect order filled his life with a profound tragic sense of fate. The harder he strove to prove his version of historical truth, the farther he drifted from mainstream public understanding. He became a solitary island inhabited only by his own beliefs, yet upon that inner island he reigned as sole king, ruling a spiritual territory far vaster than Atlantis itself. In his later advanced years, Ignatius Donnelly's physical health gradually weakened, yet his inner spiritual world grew ever more vivid, surreal and boundless. He began writing prophetic novels foretelling the eventual collapse of modern civilization and warning humanity of another spiritual great flood looming on the horizon. Through wind-swept, freezing Minnesota winter nights he lay confined to his sickbed, listening not to the howling wind of the mortal world but to the echoing crash of ancient waves from 10,000 years prior. He wrote in his private diary, "Even if the whole world chooses not to believe me, I have already lived fully within that ancient timeless realm." Beneath the dim glow of oil lamplight his features softened greatly, his stern solemn aura melting into complete peaceful resignation. He no longer craved recognition or acknowledgement from others, for within his mind the golden palaces of Atlantis had never truly crumbled away. He had built that eternal ancient city brick by brick with his written words, a realm free from poverty, hypocrisy, betrayal and shattered ideals. All his life he played the role of rational scholarly thinker, striving to attach scientific reasoning and evidence to romantic ethereal dreams, and this quiet contradiction remained the greatest subtle irony of his life. Yet it was this persistent effort that lent every line of his writing a calm, reassuring power, as if whispering gently, "Do not fear, the world holds a sacred origin and a destined home." When he closed his eyes for the final time, the lifelong inner thirst for understanding the origin of human civilization finally faded into quiet peace. Today the name Ignatius Donnelly has gradually grown unfamiliar to most modern readers. Most of his arguments and theories surrounding Atlantis have long been sealed away in dusty corners labeled as pseudoscience within museum archives, yet we return to the quiet question raised in the opening of our tale: why do we still willingly listen to his fantastical claims in this age dominated by cold rational logic? Perhaps deep inside every human heart lies a slowly sinking hidden island, an endless, lingering attachment to the glorious forgotten past. Donnelly never physically discovered the real geographical Atlantis, yet he accurately uncovered the eternal empty longing buried deep within the human soul. With his rigorous research and whimsical romantic imagination he lit a quiet lamp leading back to primordial antiquity for every lonely soul wandering through late night solitude. As this gentle tale fades slowly into the distance tonight. May you too find your own inner tranquility amid the vast deep blue sea. The firelight has dimmed to faint smoldering embers. If you remain awake, slow your breathing and drift down into an ancient dream filled with golden splendor and shimmering crystal, free from worldly noise and unrest. May Donnelly's gift of dream weaving guard your peace tonight. May you embrace a sleep as deep, vast and enduring as a slumbering lost civilization. Good night and sweet dreams.